Gold Coast Sport Fishing Club since I arrived on the Gold Coast in 1984. Many years ago, just prior to the first Flathead Classic, which was in 1994, I was fishing in a number of barramundi tournaments in the Northern Territory. And came up with the idea, if it's good enough to do on barra, we could do a similar tournament based on flathead. We had a number of motivations for this. At the time, most big flathead just ended up in the boat, and the big breeding females that was sort of killing them was standard practice. But times changed, and the aim that what we had was to set out and have a recreational tournament, which was initially it was tag and release for most of the bigger fish, which was funded by the Department of Fisheries, but just to show that these were good lure-eating sporting fish, because most anglers fish with bait at that time, and it's a very different time to now. There was no braided line. There was about a tenth of the lures available that there are now, and it was like a simple place to fish where most people were out to get a feed. Now, in the early Flathead Classic, the first one, the Sport Fishing Club was an answer club. That's all sort of long gone in the main. Not many people fish for like close records and things like that anymore. So it was quite controversial to start a competition where it was open to everybody and anyone could fish. Yeah, there was a number of sort of disputes, committee meetings, frustrated people, but I just said, look, guys, if you want to own this, you can own it. You don't want to do it, I'm going to go be anything. And so with a group, I think there was 6 of us in our original committee. We set forth and set up the... it's important to realise that there was no social media in those days. And the fishing magazines, Fishing World, which I was a field editor for, they were a lot more influential in the fishing media sort of space than they are now. And so we were able to get this competition together. We had a lot of energy in our committee, and would sort of get hit by too many speed bumps. Dawn Critchlow, local councillor, we managed to get $5,000 funding through the local new events funding program. We had Monty Dwyer from the Today Show do the weather crosses on the original Flathead Classic. We had the Stessel boat, which was at the time we had Stessel's bank manager as part of our committee. We managed to get Alf to donate a boat. Thanks, Phil. And that went on from there. It was originally held at the Treasure Island Caravan Park, and we've actually found in the archives, we found the original magazine, which was quite interesting to read. We had 77 teams in that first year, and we had about 30 sponsors. Since that time, the Flathead Classic has grown enormously, and you can actually follow the trends in flathead fishing through what the winners did, what they used, how fish were caught, where they were caught, and all the influence there. And what happened with flathead? I think we were at the forefront of putting it sort of in the spotlight as to what a valuable recreational resource these fish are. So now, you can keep 5 fish between 40 and 75 centimetres, but in fact, just about everyone releases all the big fish, and that's refreshing. And the trends that we see is that there's more big fish being caught than what there used to be. There's more medium-sized fish coming through the ranks, and then the slot limit of 40 to 75 works really well. I can look back and see some of the early Ken Brown Coast Watch videos where there was multiple fish being caught off the beach and ganked hooks and all the rest of it, all being gaffed and put in a big pile. All those days are over. So our flathead are reasonably well looked after. And if you look at the trends in catches on the Flathead Classic, the catch per effort, that is the amount of fish people catch per day, is basically maintained or even improved in some areas. So the resource is maintained, and it's a very important resource. These are one of the few fish that's available to everyone that eats lures and that you can catch from a small boat without undue expense. The Gold Coast Flathead Classic this year, to do the 30th anniversary, it's quite a an honour to think that something you thought of that long ago has prospered and grown. And now with up to $400,000 worth of sponsorship and 300 teams this year, it's a privilege to be a part of it again. And I think it's always one of the highlights of the year for me and for hundreds of other anglers competing. The other things that the Flathead Classic has been a part of is changing lures. And if you look at the styles of lures used, I remember in the early days, most of it was trolling. Typical lures were the man's 5 plus and the tilts. And then one of the lures that came along that revolutionised flathead trolling, and still does today, is the Lively Lures micro mullet. And it's a great lure with high cadence, vibrate, sheds its own leads and catch heaps of fish. And I still fish with this lure a lot today. The advent of soft plastics totally changed the nature of the Flathead Classic as far as scores and catches go. And in the early days, we fished with Franoski shads with enormous success. In fact, we won 5 Flathead Classics in a row using soft plastics before all the other anglers cottoned on to the idea. Those days are sort of gone now, where we have secret lures and secret spots, and I don't think there's any secret lures or secret spots, but lots of anglers have developed techniques. Some teams, such as the White Boys, are very much sort of focused on fishing in the deep. Other teams, such as Ross McCullum and the Joke Boys, are focused on doing things like trolling. And yet again, more teams have a multi sort of method approach where they'll troll, they'll cast, they'll fish the deep, they'll fish the shallows. Big lures in the shallows is another trend that we have seen in recent years, where large lures cast over shallow water and catch repeatedly numbers of big fish. It's been a fantastic journey to see what's happened along the way. The biggest events in tackle that have made flathead fishing easier are better rods, high response graphite, sort of fast tip rods that hook fish better, particularly on soft plastics, braided line, which it's hard to believe for some of the younger anglers that it didn't exist and we fished with long stretchy nylon line in the early days, and also the nature of catch and release. People are happy to let fish go, whereas before, in the early days of the club and other areas, you'd see big bags of flathead waded in both AAA clubs and also through our club. It's a great to be a part of. It's fun. Its format is evolved in time. It's got 3 great days of fishing, and our waterways can actually support 300 boats. It does get crowded in some spots, but it's not too bad, and everyone looks forward to it. And I'd just like to thank everyone involved for what's been a fantastic journey and a wonderful thing for the community and for the Gold Coast Fishing.